Hey, and welcome back. Today we're going to look at a friend of mine who got stuck a bit. Let's do a little introduction, shall we? This here be my friend that is a bit stuck. Right there. These calibers here, they really don't work anymore. So I took her for a spin, and when I stopped the motorcycle, smoke started appearing, and it was not too good. So these are stuck. There are two of them, and we have to look at that. This is Job. This is a Honda 750 VF California edition, which means that, when you run out of gas, you run out of gas because there is a indicator that says that now you're low on fuel. But when that starts to illuminate, you're almost out of fuel, which means that you better find someplace fast. I mean, there's no reserve tank on this one. This is what you got is what you got. There is it's been a little bit rebuilt, not much. I mean, the handle here is not stock, front light is not stock, and the blinkers is not stock. The rest is just as if they went out of the factory yesterday. So I tried to rejet these, as we call it, because I was thinking perhaps I can get this to, go a little bit faster or whatever. And by doing so, I got so much power that it lifted up the front wheel at once, which is not good on a chopper because when it comes back down, it might actually bend the entire front section here. So that had to be turned back down. So I did that. So, but we tried it, right? So this is what she looks like. I was inspired by, or you don't know, but The Simpsons, they have a lizard there called Jub. So, well, this here is Jub. I had a good friend of mine who did this. We just wanted to try it out. We saw at the one of the episodes of what the hell was it? Orange Chopper County, whatever. Yeah, they did something similar, and we just want to try it and see how well it went. And it actually turned out looked pretty good to me. So Job has a job to be done, which is front brakes. Let's have a look at them. Right. So this is what you call a brake caliper. This is a brake disc, round thing here, and this here is the caliper. It works like this. You have a brake pad on each side, and when you hit the brakes, or not hit it, when you pull the handbrake lever or whatever, it squeezes and presses the two brake pads against the disc, and therefore it will have a stopping motion. Yeah. You see the coloration on this? This has been hot because this is stuck. This is what we call a liquid caliper, because this here is a pin. And in the pin here, it is sliding back and forth on that. If this is stuck in here, then when you brake and you release, it is stuck and it can't release. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off these and we're going to loop things up and make sure that it functions and works again. Put it back on and then go for a test run. Sounds easy? This should be done in less than an hour or two. Unless, of course, you got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, then it'll take like 4 days. Let's just go anyways. Function is, well, you can see the brake line coming up here. Where is it? Up to here. There we go. And, well, then it comes up to the lever here, which is in there. So, level, well, again, this is not stock, so it had to look like this. More or less had to look like that. And we can see there's oil in there. You see, now there's no oil. Now there is. All right, so we should be good to go. You push the lever. You hear the clicking? That's in here. That is the switch for the brake lights. Yeah. But I can feel it when I push it just a little bit. There's a lot of resistance, which means that something down here is stuck. Or maybe in here. We don't know. Let's start with the most obvious, which is down here. All right, let's go. Now, this is Japanese, which means that usually in Europe, bolts like these are like 13 millimeters and 12 millimeters. They are not on Japanese. They're like 14 and 11 or whatever. Right, so this is a 14, 11. Yeah, well, what the hell? Oh, shit, this is stuff. Oh, God, there we have it. Holy schmoly. Oh, let's see. So this is damn. There we are. This doesn't really look too bad. And it's, oh, this is actually pretty good. So, that might mean that the problem's even worse than I thought. Damn it. And this is loose. So, no, it's not. No, it is. No, it's not. It's still a bit stuck. Well, let's just mosey on and see what happens. Oh, of course. So it's 14 and 12 millimeter. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's have a look. So, let's have a look at this. Well, that's not a glider. This is just a bolt. Okay. Okay, it's still stuck. So let's open up here and let's have a look at the brake pads inside. Let's see. And squeeze them bits of bit together so that we can get this here caliper out. Oh, I think we can. Okay, this needs to be helped all the way. Well, there we go. Come on. Right, so. Okay, so at first glance, we can see that the, I don't know if you can see it, but in here is the two pistons, one there and one here. We could do a test. We could put a little bit of pressure on it, and if the piston moves back in, then that's not stock. So that's one stock. Okay, this one is. So this one needs to be redone, and that one is, well, when we are at it, why don't we just pull that shit out? And yeah, so let's go for that. Which means that firstly, we'll have to take off the pins here that are holding the brake pads. And we're probably going to have to redo everything here. So, well, which means that we'll take this off and we'll go to the workbench. Cool. So let's have a look at the caliper itself. So this is the caliper. This is where the brake fluid comes in. So when you use your handbrake or use your foot or whatever, that pressure is going to go through here. And you see you have two pistons here. One there, which is obviously stuck, and another one down here, which is, well, not stuck. So what happens is that when the pressure builds up here, and there's a pin here that glides over, and there's another one on the other side that glides over, which means that you now get a gripping motion when the pressure on this one starts building and the brake pad moves up, and incidentally also pulls this down because of the gripping motion on that brake pad. So we have the motion like this going on the brake disc, so we get braking motion. What we need to do now is that we need to get, of course, the brake pads out, and we need to figure out why this thing doesn't move, or perhaps get it out and clean it clean, put it back in, and see if we can get free movement. Now that would be great. By doing so, we need to remove these pins here and take off the brake pads. This here is a bleeder nipple. I don't know if you call it a nipple. We do it here, but this is a bleeder thing. So we're going to use this when everything on this thing works, and we're going to put new brake fluids in it. We're going to bleed it through this. So I'm just going to dismantle this as well as possible, right? see if we can get it out. Ow. No movement and no movement, which means I have to knock it out. So I'll do it with these. Be careful when you knock things like this. If it grows, if it has a, if the head can move actually and get larger, which means that you will never get it through the hole. So just be careful what you do. If you see it getting bigger, stop and find something you can use as a, whatever. Okay, let's go. This is moving. This is moving as well. There we go. I'm just going to find something I can put in the holes here so we can start tapping it out. Which might be this one. Like that. Oh, 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 oh. There we go. And I'll start moving. So did this. Perhaps now I can grab it and get it out. Let's try. Oh, it is moving. That's one. You see? Now it doesn't have it anymore. Now we need this one. It's over here. So let's just remove this entirely. But you can see it's coming out nice and slowly. Well, not nice, but it is coming out slowly. There we go. This needs a cleaning as well, because I can feel that that's kind of sticky. So the brake pads itself might also get stuck. Now we don't want that. We want free movement all the way around. And you see, there should have been some sort of lock here. I'm not sure if it's ever had any or it's because it's actually locked by the plate, which of course it is. So it gets in here, and when you lock it, the pin is locked. See? So yeah, that looks good, but it actually does have this sticky feeling to it. So this needs to be cleaned thoroughly, of course. That comes with the other one as well. That also needs, if I can get movement out of this one now. Now I can. That's great. Ah, yeah. Aw. Oh man, this is stuck. The bike itself is from 84, 85. I had it for roughly 15 years. And I never had any issues with it. Never. Well, of course, I ran out of fuel once because I thought it was so fucking good at driving, so I could get driving forever. And I accidentally knocked the sensor out, or the cable for it. So it didn't tell me when I was out of use, but it told me in a different way though. A lot of coughing and, well, okay. And it's a long walk on the highway to get to the nearest gas station. That was actually open. Man, this is stuck. Perhaps I can get this in here and then knock it a bit out. Because this is not helping. Well, the brake pad's out. Ow. Ew. There's a lot of crud in there, huh? Yeah. Ew. If I can get this out as well, I can get everything through clean. Let's have a look. Wow. Oh. Love it. Not really. It's not really happening because that one piston there is stuck. Damn it. Ah. well, we're just going to leave that thing in there until we get this pull more back or out. Okay, so phase 2 will, of course, be this removed completely. And these needs to come out. Usually, we can do it if you put in pressure here. Compressed air will sometimes do it. And it'll just grow out and say poof, and that's it. But I believe this one will be so stuck that I need to pull out somewhere else. And I have to figure out how to do that. But we'll see what happens. All right, so I actually did a trick. Well, I should have shown you, but we know that one of these pistons here, this one over here, actually had free movement. And this one here was stuck. So what did I do? Well, I took it back on the motorcycle and put on the brake hose here. Then I took a hammer and put that in between here. Well, just imagine this was down here. Okay? And I started pumping with the hand control. And all of a sudden, I could feel that this started to move out. And I just continue on doing so until we are at the point where it is right now, where I can remove, hopefully, one piston and hopefully move the other piston. There we go. Boom. Now there it is. These needs to get thoroughly cleaned, like really, really clean. And then hopefully we can get it back in here and we'll have free movement and it'll be unstuck. Then it's back on the motorcycle for a test. Let's go. Just gonna have a good look through here and see if I can see any damage, and not really, no. This one, no, not really. No, so it's pretty good. So, caliber itself looks pretty good. Now, as these two things here just need to get cleaned up, you can see that there's something on here. I mean, you can feel the groove here. So there's something that's stuck on here that needs just to get removed. And let's just try to put it back in after that and see what happens, because I do believe this is it. All right, I'll just do that. So what do I use? You see, this one here is done now. This is the bad one. Okay, so what do I use? I use a steel brush, and I use a solution of some sort. This is rust off with graphite. Because the graphite, I believe it makes it, well, easier to work with. It's just like when you use your cloth or whatever with this, it also polishes it a little bit, right? So the reason why I'm using a steel brush is because, well, it doesn't make any grooves on this, as if you would use sandpaper. But of course, if you're using sandpaper, use the highest grain as possible, so you don't make any, real rough edges on whatever. Yeah, and you can feel with your nail here that there's actually nothing here. This is just discoloration because of time. Discoloration means absolute bupkis. But there's nothing here. You can feel it. There's nothing here. I'm going to be doing this one as well, the same way I did this one. I put this in a vise, but I don't tighten it too hard. Just put it in. Make sure it doesn't, like this, so we'll have pressure on this end and that end, just like that. And just hold it. And I use my steel brush. Just work my way around it all the way. And here's the result. Okay, I'm just going to do this one. Okay, so we're back on the motorcycle here. So I put on the brake line and I filled up some oils, brake oil, .4, in the hand control there. And I have opened up the bleeding screw just a bit. And so I could hear the air coming out, and I was just, trying to get some of all this out. And when I saw liquid coming out, I shut this thing here. And well, we can't do a bleeding now because it's not on the motorcycle itself. So we can't build any pressure because I can't hold this by hand. That's just impossible. But we can hopefully see if the pistons start moving, right? So let's try and see what happens if I, oh, you see that? Things coming out. This one over here, have a good look. right? So if I hold this with my thumb, we should get the other one moving. And Lord and behold, it does. See? So now we know that the pistons itself is not stuck anymore. That's a good thing. So I'm thinking that we should get this back on a motorcycle and see if we can do a bleeding of some sort. And I will see if I can raise the front wheel and we can air this thing out. And hopefully we don't have to do the other side. But looking at it, it's not very likely that we don't have to. So we don't have to. So I think we do. Secondly, remember, when you have pins like this, loop them. You can get different materials. I use my special remedy for that. I'm not going to tell you because a shitstorm will happen. And it's because some of it is from, well, not available to you guys. There is, in your local stores, you have something called brake lubrications or whatever. You could use copper grease, but when you're using copper grease, remember it's different materials. So when you're using copper and aluminum and iron, well, then it corrodes and it gets stuck by itself. Use the correct size, like brake pasta, whatever you can get on your local depot, right? So you do that, and I've done my way, so, well, I'm not going to show you it anyway, but then you can see now there's movement here as well. So now this is nice and loose. So this is looped up. Ready to go on the motorcycle? Let's just try it and see what happens. Let's do that. So, okay, so I got it back on here. See, this is brake, whatever. We can clean it off later. So I just loosely put it back on so you can see where we're at. So the brake pad's back in. Remember the plate that is on top of it and squeezes down, right? Remember that, because I forgot, so I had to take the whole shit off again. There's nothing wrong in admitting when you're doing a mistake. I mean, it's a human thing, and just do it. I mean, if you told your boss, let's just say, I told my boss, listen, you know what? I fucked up. I did this, and that, and then it didn't turn out so well, so I did something else. And look at what he was not going to say, listen, I'm going to fucking fire you. No, he's going to say, okay, so you had a problem and you fixed it. So thanks for sharing, and probably you learned. And I'll say yes. This may look difficult to some. I mean, this is easy peasy for me because, well, this is what I usually do. And if you feel that you don't really know what you're doing, and you feel that this and you get uncertain, then don't do it. Then give the job to someone else. But I'm doing this to show you that you can actually check things out yourself. I mean, you don't have to go to a professional, even though it would, of course, be, I don't know, I would say better, because, well, you can do it just as well as a mechanic, but the mechanic will do the same thing as I'm doing and checking the same things I'm checking, which you should do as well when you do something like this. You check and make sure everything's all right. And if it doesn't work for you, and you say, well, I'm not sure that I've done this correctly, then you go to the professionals, and they will check it out for you and say, well, yeah. And sometimes it will cost you more because you fucked up somewhere. And so what? I'm going to put this thing back on. Stop talking. Or maybe not, because then it'll be a fucking boring video. So let's just put this thing in here. Just remember, when you tighten things like these, this is not a truck, this is a motorcycle. So be gentle, okay? Be very, very gentle. So let's see if we can get this in. Now I feel it. There it is. So I'm just going to, you saw when I took it off, it was like, oh God, it was stuck on there. So let's just tighten it a little bit. There we go. And this one's next. That was a 12. So there we go. And that's here, and then tight. Oh, see. Now we got movement. I don't see it, but I got movement. So, which is good. So now we can start building pressure by the brake level. Ooh. Okay, now we're going to do the bleeding, which means that I'm going to open up this. I'm going to pump up here. I'm going to open this, and I'm going to, when something comes out, I'm going to shut it. And I'm going to release the pump, the handbrake lever, let the oil seep in, and do it again. And the same process over and over and over until we get clean fluid coming out. Right, so onto here. There's of course special tools for this. There are special tools for everything in this world. However, I'm not doing this. So I'm putting in pressure right here and opening up. Oh, you saw that? It squirted on me. So you shut it again, and we release the handbrake, and we pump a little bit as if we could feel some resistance coming in. And there we go, and we hold it in, and we open up again, oil comes out. So now I would say that we are close to being done. Now this is one side, I need to do the other side as well because this is a two-way system. Well, it's not a two-way system, it's a one brake line system, but it's divided up into two. So I have to do the other side because air might have gone in there as well, okay? But I feel it's actually working. Yeah. It's not getting hard though, as it should be, because well, there's a lot of water in this has a lot of water in here. Not a lot of the distance between the brake pads. Oh, there it is. I can feel it now. There it is. There it is. Let's open this thing up here, and let's poof. And we got air coming out. There we go. Let's do it again. Open her up. Oh, oil coming out. Okay. So build up pressure. There we go. And let's open her up. You saw that? Yeah. Let's go again. Oh, and I do feel the handbrake is actually getting stiffer and harder. Nice. So let's go again. There we are. Clean oil. So I'm thinking we have to do the other side as well. So just to make sure, but this actually feels pretty darn good. It does. Yeah. Right, I'm going to release the other side, and I'm going to try to bleed that side as well. All right. So I'm going to move on to this side. You can't see it, unfortunately. Well, but remember, if something's stuck in there, or stuck here, then it's not necessarily. It's because it could be corroded on it there. But if you feel that it's a lot of resistance, then be careful because you can snap it off. So I brought my trusty hammer. I'm not gonna whack the shit out of it. I'm just gonna tap it like that's it, because sometimes that takes off whatever is stuck in it. All right, so let's try. Boom, there she is. Open. Okay, cool. So, all right, so I'm getting ready again to go with the handbrake. I'm gonna build up pressure. I'm going to move to this side here, so I'm going to build up pressure. There we go. And I'm going to open her up. Clean oil. So actually this should be, let's just do one more just to make sure. There we are, all the way in. Feels right. Open up again. Yeah, clean oil. I think that's it. That's it. So we're gonna fill her up with oils, top her up, and we're gonna lift up the front end, spin the wheel, and see if it's stuck. If it gets stuck or not. Let's do that. Doo-doo. Oil here. Oil all the way up to maximum level. about there, I think. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So. The rubber thing is going to put back on here. There we go. Here. Sealing. And the lid. Boom. Right. Next will be spin the wheel, braking, see if it releases itself. Fantastic. Let's just see if we can see the movement now, because it's now moving freely. Now watch this. You see the movement? However little it is, I'm moving closer. There we go. Ready? Whoops. That's enough. All right, so I got up on the stands here. So I'm just going to spin it, hit the brake, and see if it stops. And release the brake again, and hopefully the wheel will be free enough to go around again, because that did not happen the first time. Ready? There we go. Boom. Stop. Stock. Release. Yeah. Fine. Fantastic. So let's get it off the jack stands, and let's start her up. I think it's about time we gotta listen to the critter here. Jup Jup, that's just called. So thank you for watching this time, and I'll see you around, guys. Bye bye. That was a good beer. Non-alcoholic, but nevertheless, it was a good beer. It went okay. First, it was very firm, as I anticipated, but then it got a little bit more sluggish. Just like feeding a sponge. So that wasn't so good. So I stopped the vehicle. I had brought, of course, a spanner with me. And I did a little extra, and Lord and behold, a little bit of more air came out, and it was just fine. So when you do this, test the vehicles, make sure that things work out fine as a test drive. And if it doesn't, do it again. And then go off to a sunset like this, and have a beer, and if you're into that, take care of each other. Bye bye.